idea of, becoming a journalist, owning your own media empire? How did that start?
I got into media by accident. It was through some event management work. I was helping out a friend who was launching some beauty products for the Indian brand Shanaz Hussain. And it was through that I started getting my articles published. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should do a bit more writing. So I attempted to launch a free magazine, not having any journalism or journalistic experience, but because of my connections with Bollywood and the lifestyle industry and the beauty industry, I was able to do loads of feature-based work, and that was quite successful. And obviously the recession hit and it became too expensive to run that on my own. I then decided to pursue a diploma in journalism, and while I was doing that, I realised that I really enjoyed reading mainstream newspapers because it spoke to me in terms of British politics, in terms of the economy, in terms of local and national issues in this country. However, they didn't have things like the Bollywood stuff, which I enjoy. So that was missing. So I used to go to the Asian newspapers for that. But with the Asian newspapers, the politics and the business was always related to what was going on back in South Asia. So I felt, well, there's a gap here. These newspapers, I have to have two. So it's not really speaking for the third and the fourth generation of South Asians. And that's when the idea came about to launch the country's very first free Sunday newspaper.
I'm just looking at your first edition, and oh my God, it's incredible, isn't it? From what it was back in September 2011 to you've now got all these different sort of regional papers. What was that journey, Fatima?
I think what's very important, especially if you are a business, is to make sure that you move with the times, because generations change, people's habits change, technologies change, and as a business you have to be forward thinking. We started developing video news content, we started developing a YouTube TV channel, and that's when we decided that Asian Sunday should become an online portal where people can go online and access all the news online, but also access brand new exclusive content that we will create in-house. But we still had a very loyal audience who absolutely love our hard copy newspapers. So that's when we decided, okay, what we'll do is we will still have a print title, but we'll make it weekly. And that's why we decided to make it regional, because what affects and impacts on Bradford South Asian community might be different to what affects and impacts people in Kirklees and in Leeds. And I think also we wanted to make sure that people don't put the South Asian community into one box. All of the South Asian communities are different. So we wanted to create a newspaper that was relatable for those grassroots communities. We are here to be their voice. We are here to talk about issues that affect them, that impact on them. So if I made a generic newspaper, which is cheaper for me to just make one and send that everywhere, I'm not really doing what I should be doing as a journalist. I'm not really reaching those grassroots communities and giving them those voices. And that's why we then decided that we were going to make each title regional. So that's when Asian Standard Bradford launched, which then became Asian Standard Kirklees, Asian Standard Northeast, Asian Standard Leeds, and hopefully another 6 titles to come by 2025.
What other challenges have you faced?
I think the very first one, Sharon, was acceptance. So when you're new and you don't know anyone and you just launched a brand new brand, you need to get acceptance. And acceptance for us as a newspaper, you have to get it from both sides. You have to get acceptance from the business community as well as from the consumer, from the readership. One of the first issues we had was the title. It gave an Indian transcript kind of feel, and that got quite a few people upset. They felt excluded. I think for business owners, that's a lesson there in itself, isn't it? Your visibility has to show, that you're not just for a particular audience, but you're there for all audiences. And I think the second thing was, obviously, naturally as a newspaper, you are going to have stories that not everybody's going to like. So it got me into a lot of trouble because I wasn't afraid to put my neck on the line, standing up for people's rights.
I mean, last year was hard for you as well, wasn't it, Fatima? Yeah. The lockdown where we were so isolated. How did you get through that?
Very difficult times, which I'm sure it must have been for everybody across the world. Our business already sort of had a bit of a setback in 2019, so we were struggling, and I was already planning to strategize and to create new video content. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits and you have to shut down. So all those plans that you've invested in, you've put money into, can't happen anymore. So you can't get your return back. and automatically your cash flow and everything is strapped. And especially with the regular changing of lockdown starting, opening, then closing, then the tier system, as soon as we were able to continue fulfilling those projects like the talk shows and creating the online platforms and really coming back stronger.
So what other things are you working on?
So we've got Asian Sunday Online, which is an online portal which is through the website. You can access all our news stories. We've also got Asian Sunday TV, which is through YouTube, and that is where we're going to be creating exclusive content, our own in-house content, and it's going to be about real people. I want to use that video platform to find out their real journeys. So we have a talk show called Let's Talk, now on to our season 3 with that. We've got Simmering Sundays, which is coming up, a new programme where we're going to be inviting people to come and cook. And then obviously with Asian Standard, which is our newspaper, our regional title, we already have 4 titles. We're now going to be launching another 6 titles by 2025, places like Sheffield, Wales, Manchester, the Midlands, and obviously London.
What's next?
I think for me, it's always about leaving a legacy. It's more about being able to have a platform that connects people, but that also gives people the voice that they've not been able to have. For example, we've just signed up an amazing woman. She's called Razia Bibi. She's had an incredible journey as a young kid, forced to move out of India during partition. And she's had some, huge struggles. She's always said to me that, we're the forgotten generation. Nobody remembers what we did. That really resonated with me, and I felt like, you know what, we shouldn't forget their sacrifices, because if it wasn't for people like Razia Bibi, we wouldn't be able to have the kind of opportunities because of their sacrifices. Not many media outlets are going to give a 90-year-old an opportunity to do that. I'm very grassroots driven. I'm very driven by the communities because I grew up in these communities. And so I feel really blessed that I'm able to give that opportunity and to create that platform. And that's what I want to do. So that's my hunger, if you like, to be able to do more of that, whether that's in Bradford or all the other cities that we hope to explore. I want to be able to make sure that everybody knows about the legacy of the South Asian community in the UK, and also to be able to make sure that we all have those equal opportunities, whether it's women or people of colour. And I think that's what my vision is, and that's what I want to do. And it doesn't have to be just me driving it. If other people want to come in and join and take it forward and help make this vision a reality.
Who's your role model?
My role model, I have to say, and I think everybody knows this, it's my mum. And the reason why my mum's my role model is my mum came to the UK as a 9-year-old, and they came because they left poverty. And then to come to England, not know the language, trying to fit into the schools, deal with racism as well. But to make this her home and to make sure that she had a place wasn't an easy thing to do, but she did it. And not only did she do that, she went to work, helped my grandfather pay off his debts, and then with my father they both became business people, and obviously through that I got the opportunities that I did, but also the fact that she continues even now supporting me when she doesn't need to. It should be my turn to give that support. She's my biggest inspiration, and I get all my energy from her, because whenever something goes wrong for me, I always think about her struggles, and I think mine are nothing compared to hers.
What is it that drives you?
I think for me, I've always had the ambition to want to do something that other members of my family haven't, and so I always had that ambition that I'm going to be the one that breaks that mould and changes that. And it didn't come easy, but I think the fact that I didn't give up and I carried on going has got me to the position I am today. I think that's what I want to leave behind to a lot of women, that it might be hard initially, you might have a lot of struggles, you might have a lot of people closing the door on you, you might see failure, but don't ever give up on yourself. That's the worst thing you could ever do, give up on yourself. Don't ever give up on yourself, because you have got talent, you can do this.